Funny how neon the fresh blue looks. The fresh blue, not to be confused with the not fresh blue. Oh, hair. Hi-yo, you are sitting far back though. I'm gonna scoot you forward. Just sit up for a second. I got one. I got a pillow prepared for you. There you go.
Just for me?
Just for you. Leonard's pillow, if you will. All right, there we go. We're coming in.
Usually I wear a black t-shirt because
you do often wear that is factual.
Because it
but today
tends to make one look a little slimmer.
But today.
Well, I saw this bright orange.
Yellow,
orange.
We've talked about this before. My dad is colorblind, and it always makes my mom and I laugh because he'll say something quite not exclamatory necessarily, but he'll say something and we'll go, "That's not the right thing." So the other day you said, the green bin is broken. It was the blue bin, but that's okay. We accept you for who you are.
Anyway, this is a fantastic fest.
Yes.
Shirt.
Which they can't see, but they just have to trust that that's what it is.
That's what it is. And I wouldn't buy anything this color.
You might accidentally. Knowing you, that's exactly how you would get it, actually, is that you would come home to me and you go, "Oh my gosh, isn't this a beautiful blue shirt?" And I go, "Daddy, that is neon green." Yes, it is interesting how it's such a prominent thing with men, that it's something that is passed down so easily, and women it's rare. I've always found that really interesting that men tend to be the ones who are colorblind and not women. It does happen for women, just it's so rare by comparison. I sometimes forget you're colorblind until you'll say something again where you say, "Oh, isn't that a pretty whatever it is?" And we go, "No, that's not what that is at all, but good try." Hi, everybody. Yes. You have several people noticing how bright you are today.
Yes. Well,
your yellowness.
That was not accidental.
Which is lovely, in whatever color you think it is.
We're going to be going to the Telluride Film Festival. Yes. Leaving on Wednesday. Normally we leave on Thursday, but they've added a day to the event.
This is the 50th. This is the 50th anniversary of the Telluride Film Festival, and you have been attending.
1979 was
1979. I don't math, but that's a long time.
We like to say, well, we haven't made every year, but we've been gone.
Damn near.
Yes.
Usually when you couldn't go, it was because of me. When my mom was pregnant, things like that. Though I went pregnant. This will be Daisy's third Telluride. Her first Telluride was in my stomach. I was 7 months pregnant. Don't go to a high elevation when you're pregnant like that. It is no fun, but I'm happy I went. And then she was there last year at 7 months old, and now she will be there this year at almost 2, which I really cannot believe. I can't believe she's going to be 2. She's 2 at the end of October. Where does that time go, I ask you? My goodness. All right. Well, again, hi.
One of the
and your little dog too. Yeah, right. Logan, why are we yelling?
One of the first years I attended, I had an Entertainment Tonight crew with me.
Yes.
And we shot a couple of interviews.
Logan, why are you yelling? Come here. Why are you yelling? Come here. Why are you yelling? Hi, Mabel. Continue.
Hi, Mabel. Hi, Mabel.
Hi, Mabel. Hi, Logan.
Hello,
Hi, Mabel.
Logan.
Hi, dogs. Hi, Mabel. Hi, Mabel. You're okay.
And I knew that I was going to be doing a Western
Logie,
piece for
right.
the show in another couple of weeks. So I quickly borrowed a leather vest from a friend who tended to dress in Western style and put on this leather vest with my jeans and an open collared shirt and a bolo tie, and shot a gorgeous shot against the Rocky Mountains.
It's so beautiful.
It's majestically beautiful there. And after the piece aired, all anybody could talk to me about was the vest.
It's a great shot, though. It's a great picture, and
it's a wonderful vest.
You look cool.
And it was a great look. But it taught me that on television, visual trumps verbal. If it's a contest between the two, the pictures are going to win.
It's very, very true. Somebody asked if your colored blindness affects your ability to enjoy film.
I see a wide spectrum of color. I don't see a monochrome.
Well, what's interesting though, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by our bodies because mine has never worked. I'm fascinated by them and how they are supposed to function. The fact that my dad is colorblind but knows certain things or certain colors actually changes how he sees things, which I just think it blows my mind. You know, grass is green.
Yeah.
You don't see it as green, but you know it is. Right. So it becomes green.
And I don't know when it's turned brown.
Yeah.
After a drought.
So naturally, his mix-ups are brown, orange, and green tend to get mixed, those three. And then blues, purples, pinks tend to get mixed. Those are the ones. As I say, it's things like grass is green. You know it's green, and it becomes green in his head.
People ask me how I drive with traffic lights.
Yeah.
Well, it's fine. Every traffic light has the red on top,
well, you know,
yellow in the middle,
that's why
and
they
green
made
on the
it.
bottom.
They made it universal. They weren't always that way.
No.
Well, if you think too, some lights go across instead of down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just your brain explains it to you. Your brain says, no, you know that grass is green. So even though you see it as orange, it's green. It just blows my mind. Joey says, you've had a great career. Blessings. Nice to see you. I'm Joey Infante, your hair cutter in New York.
Well, duh. Hi, Joey.
You, sir, you touched the head. You touched the head that watched the movies. Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, Rachel, I know. Rachel, you understand like I do how crazy bodies are and how they function. Logan, you are losing your tiny mind. Lynn says, my dad was colorblind too. When he traveled for work, my mom would pin a note to each item of clothing. So we write on the inside of my dad's clothes. I dress my dad. I buy all of his clothing, and we write notes on the inside of everything so he knows what goes with what. Or I just pick out what he's going to wear so he knows that it goes. Though I sent him, you were doing 2 events for TCM, and I'd chosen one outfit that was all blue and one outfit that was all pink. And that way he couldn't mix them up.
Couldn't. Foolproof.
He wore a neon blue shirt with a neon pink tie, and then vice versa at the next event. But yeah, so yeah, we do. We have notes. You used to, when you were on air, we had a whole journal.
Oh yeah.
There was a whole book of stuff.
We had a clothing guy. We had a haberdasher
who helped buy and
who helped select clothing. And with that in mind, this goes with that, that goes with that.
Yeah. Because with TV, he wasn't dressed by Entertainment Tonight. Not like the women there. I don't know if they dressed John Tesh at some point, but the men, they sort of just left on their own. The women, they would get, the different things. Very different in the 80s, I think, in part. Men just sort of wore their suits. Especially if what you wore didn't have to matter. The only time you were given clothes was for the Academy Awards, and that's when they'd give you a tux.
Yeah.
And you wore some pretty ones over the years. Yes, the dogs are restless today. They have taken off. They're going elsewhere now, so hopefully they'll leave us for a little bit. Did I interact when I saw Tom Sandoval? So my husband and I went to a comedy show near us in Studio City. And Tom Sandoval, if you watch Vanderpump Rules, if you don't, you'll live a long life. This guy who's in the middle of this whole scandal, my dad actually watched some of the reunion with me. He didn't mean to. He was just in the room.
I did not mean to.
And I was watching it. He was there. And my husband and I whacked my husband as he walked past us. Because I was just like, that's Tom Sandoval. Because my husband has watched the show too. No, I did not interact. I just watched him walk by. He was wearing the dumbest outfit, and he had this gangster lean that was just ridiculous. And I thought, yeah, you are as douchey as I thought you would be. Thank you. Ken says you always dress better than John Tesh. Well, John was always so nice. John was lovely. Bob Goen was wonderful. Loved Bob Goen. And then Mark Steinis could not have been more kind. I always thought he looked like Superman. That's what he looks like to me. But yes, you're not going to the Safety Last screening today. No, you are not. You are here. But we did an episode on Friday, and it aired Friday, with Suzanne Lloyd and Rich Carell. That is up now if you want to listen to it. And we talk about why she wanted to have this event at the Academy Museum. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Harold Lloyd's film Safety Last is 100 years old.
Yeah, let that sink in for a minute.
100
years old. Why?
And do you recognize Beaky Buzzard?
Why 50 years ago, when I became acquainted with it and other films, it was only 50 years old.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
We're old now.
Yeah.
We're old now. Stuff gets old. But yeah, it was wonderful to talk to both of them. I'm sure it's great. It's a 27-piece orchestra, something like that. It's wonderful. We have been so lucky to see many of his films on a big screen with an orchestra of different sizes. So I'm so glad that they were able to do that, and I'm sure it's wonderful. Yes, Leonard met Buster Keaton once. Yes, you did. When you were 14 years old.
13.
Pardon me, 13 years old.
And it's indelibly burned in my memory. It's not that he said anything particularly interesting. It was just the opportunity
friggin' Buster Keaton
of meeting Buster Keaton. He signed a photo for me, and it's on my wall.
Yep.
And the memory will never die. There was a saying, shake the hand that shook the hand that shook the hand that shook the hand of Napoleon.
Yeah.
It's like 6 degrees of separation.
I realized that the other day. Where did you put the mask?
Which mask?
Where's Buster's face?
Oh, it's upstairs somewhere.
Oh, you hid it. That's not a bad idea that you hid it.
Yeah.
Are the hats in the drawers?
No.
Where are the hats?
Upstairs.
Also upstairs.
Yeah.
They're hiding things. We talked about this a little bit, that we have a face mask of Buster Keaton given to you by Rick Baker. And then we made all of Buster's hats were made by his wife, Eleanor, and she taught us how to make them, 2 of them here. Sugar water was the special ingredient, sugar water.
To flatten the brim.
You put sugar water all around the brim after you cut it, and then you put glasses all over that are heavy, and that makes
you iron it. You iron it, and then
it was great. Sorry, did we ever meet Bob Barker? I met him once at an event. Did you ever meet him?
Probably in passing, just like that.
At an event. Don't forget to have your pet spayed and neutered. Bob Barker.
He really had an influence, though. I mean,
he did. Well, Drew Carey was posting about him today, obviously, and
Drew Carey was taking his place.
Yeah.
On The Price is Right.
It's funny. You look at some stuff. Some people will say, that he was kind of creepy with women who were on the show. The way I look at him is he's sort of like, forgive me, he's sort of like just the old man who's used to giving kisses on the cheek. And I don't think he meant anything by it. I think it was just a different mentality in a different time. I think sometimes people put more into something than it needs to be. But he did. He was huge in what he did for animals. The main thing is that his sign off after every single episode, all 7 million episodes, was don't forget to have your pets spayed or neutered. And he really did. He put a lot of time into animal charities. And that for those of us who love animals, that means a lot, with Richard Dawson. That's what I mean. There's certain hosts where I don't think they meant to be touchy. I think that it was just a different time. And if you said to them, hey, you're really creeping people out, they'd probably feel bad about it. Or maybe they wouldn't. Who knows? Either way. But yeah, let's see. Thank you. Several people listened to the podcast. I'm so glad that you the most recent. We did a podcast with Suzanne Lloyd that was all her. But this one obviously focused on that. Though we asked her questions. Sue, my dad's, she called Harold Lloyd daddy, was her grandfather, but he raised her. So usually she refers to him as dad. My dad and her dad are a bit different. My dad's not Harold Lloyd. The people that she was around, not quite the same. But the similarity, that something that she and I have always bonded over, is the fact that we never, for a long time, we didn't know what the people around us did. You know, you don't ask your parents' friends what they do, especially here, because everybody's involved in film. So I knew everybody we knew was somehow involved in entertainment. But something I'd never asked her was about Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, folks like that. I just never asked her before. And spoiler, she knew them both because her grandfather, her dad, knew them both. And she played with Charlie Chaplin's kids when they were in Switzerland.
She didn't know who the older man was who opened the front door.
They told her, and she sort of thought, okay. And then she went and played with the kids. And this is why you have to ask people questions.
Right.
I don't know how old I was. It's some years now where I had this sort of a realization. It was probably with Madeline, actually, learning that Madeline created the celluloid guy.
Yeah.
The AMC,
clip.
You know. I had a moment with some friends of ours who I'd known my entire life where I went, oh, you did that? I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you created this or created this. And it clicked in my head that I needed to ask everybody what they did. And it's kind of mind-blowing, the different folks that you were friends with or friendly with, you know, and especially because some of them have been gone for such a long time, right. You forget, you know. Somebody asked me about Nell Carter the other day. Yeah. And she's been gone a long time. But Nell was very special to me. Nell was very, very special to me. And I hadn't thought about her in ages, you know, and God, yeah, Nell was one of the first people that really encouraged my singing. And she was really big on she didn't want me to go see voice teachers, which I did anyway, but she was worried that I would lose my natural voice if I went to a voice teacher. But yeah, she was very, very special to us, and it's just crazy. No, we've never been to Switzerland, or I should say Mommy has when she was young. My mom went there when she was young. But no, we've never been to Chaplain World in Switzerland. That's an adventure.
It's on the bucket list.
I hope we get to have one day.
It's on that bucket list.
Oh, that's nice. This gentleman named Ivan says, Mr. Maltin, you're my most favorite film critic, especially when you were on Entertainment Tonight. It's called Entertainment This Week, back in the 90s.
Weekend show.
Yep. He's from Singapore, and he says your movie segment was always the highlight for my brothers and me when we all used to live with our parents. That's so nice.
Lovely.
That's lovely.
Lovely of you to say that, and it has real meaning for me.
Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you.
If someone had never seen a Buster Keaton film before, what would be the first you would recommend?
We disagree on this.
Do we?
Well, I would show one of the shorts first.
I love the shorts.
1 Week or Cops.
Yeah.
They're both great. 1 Week is where they build a house by a kit. It's a numbered kit, and the bad guy switches all the numbers around. So the house turns out incredibly lopsided. Very, very funny. Cops is where he manages, he's hauling furniture for a family that's moving with a horse-drawn cart, and everything goes wrong, and he winds up being pursued by oodles and oodles and oodles of policemen.
I love the monkey one on the boat. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite one. Is it honey? No, what's it called? Not honeymoon. No, what's it called?
Love Nest.
Love Nest. That's it. I love Love Nest. That's one of my favorites. It has a monkey in it. What more do you need? I think that one's really easy. Just in terms of it being funny. Several folks are saying Cops, definitely Cops. Yeah, I'd go with that. I don't think he's a difficult one. I think that you kind of get what he's doing quite quickly, and he's just funny. And obviously the stone face thing, as ridiculous is going on around him, he just sort of remains in that state, which I enjoy. But yeah, I like a lot of his stuff. I like a lot of his stuff. Have Alice and Leonard ever had a major disagreement about a film? Also, please let Alice Maltin know we love her. We adore her. Sorry. I will tell her that. You and I agree more than you and mommy agree, usually. Yeah. You and mommy disagree a lot. On new films, I should say. Classic films, they're usually the same, but new films, you two have quite different reactions. You've never had a fight over it.
No.
There's no fighting, really.
It's never come to that. It's all a question of degree.
Yeah. But there are a lot of times when you have, you know what it is? My mom doesn't have patience, as she will tell you. She has no patience. And so a lot of times with a number of movies, especially the newer ones, she just doesn't care after a while and wants it to be over with. And she's not wrong. She's not wrong. But I think that's a tricky one for them.
We both watched, at her behest.
Yeah.
We watched the new Adam Sandler movie. Adam Sandler.
Is that what you watched last night?
No, Friday night.
Okay, and?
It's called You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah.
Starring Adam Sandler's daughters.
His two daughters.
Sadie and Sunny.
Play his two daughters.
I remember when they were born.
And his wife plays his daughter's best friend's mother.
Okay.
And I think if I was a 12-year-old girl, yeah. I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
So you're saying you're not a 12-year-old girl?
I'm putting it out there.
To clarify.
I'm just putting it out there.
Not a 12-year-old girl. Got it. So you didn't like it?
I tolerated it.
Did mommy like it?
Yeah.
More than you?
Yeah.
There you go. You both watched something the other day. So there's a new film called Bottoms. Your review just went up yesterday. Hi, Christy. And I'll get back. JJ's asking, is there any Adam Sandler movie you like? A lot of critics can't stand him. I will answer that in just 1 second. Where am I? What day is this?
Uncut Gems.
There you go. He likes the movie Uncut Gems. The thing about Adam Sandler is I was the one who had to review pretty much all of his movies for the movie guide. Those were some of my submissions. I don't know which ones you've seen, if any. I think you've seen Waterboy, which I think is a great movie. I love The Waterboy.
I saw Grown Ups 2.
Yeah, well, that's not very good. Don't count that one.
I saw The Wedding Singer when it was new.
Yes, I love The Wedding Singer. The Wedding Singer is a great movie. I love The Wedding Singer. I'm trying to think I like Happy Gilmore and I like Billy Madison because I was the right age when those movies came out and I know all of the cameos.
Featuring Bob Barker.
Yep, which is somebody else mentioned earlier that Adam Sandler did post about that. Yeah, I was younger when those came out and they were even when I thought they were ridiculous, there was a lot of things about them I liked. The thing that Adam Sandler has done, and this has always been an issue, as he has aged at different points, he tries to sort of move his movies with him. But the problem is that he still wants to do the kind of humor, like toilet humor, that like you would have when you're like 12 with your friends. And so the problem is you'd watch 50 First Dates, for example. There are so many sweet moments in that movie, genuinely. And it was fun to see him with Drew Barrymore again. They made such a wonderful couple in Wedding Singer. But then, and this is true of a lot of people, Judd Apatow, whoever, where it's like someone needed to be there to say, just don't put that joke in. It takes things from being cute or funny to just being gross and pointless.
There's a crude level.
Yeah.
That he finds acceptable.
Yes.
In almost every setting.
Yeah.
Every context.
Yes.
And that's where he loses me.
Yeah. And
I don't think he's upset about losing me.
No. But that's the thing. I've always liked him. I like him. Again, I'm of the generation where when he became famous from SNL, that was a big deal. And when he had the Hanukkah song, that was a big deal. And I like his movies. I've seen all of them. I've seen Big Daddy. I think I've seen almost every single movie, that he's made. And some of them are truly awful. and I reviewed those for the books too. That's My Boy. Had to review that for the movie guide. Yeah.
Do you remember that I could have appeared in Deeds?
I do remember that. I'm really glad you didn't.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh God, Little Nicky. Yeah. There's so many terrible movies. But as I say, but I like him. Like, I like him. And so I am annoyed when he pushes things to a level where I'm like, just don't do that. Because
I admire him for his loyalty.
Oh my God.
To his crews, to his actors.
He really has kept people alive, working. He's the reason many people have houses. He does. He takes care of his guys and always casts them, always has them working. Yeah, and I think that's important. Yeah, the Hotel Transylvania movies are cute. I reviewed those for the book, and I came home to my dad and I said, "I bet you didn't know Dracula was Jewish," because that's what it felt like in those movies. But they're cute. Yeah, I like You Don't Mess with the Zohan. I like that movie too. Again, and when that came out, I had been to Israel, and I was like, "It's so true. So much of this is so true. They really do put hummus on everything." It was accurate in a lot of ways. William said, "I've never seen any of his movies, but when I met Adam Sandler, he was very nice." Well, see, that's the thing. Again, like, you won't hear a bad word about him.
No.
He's a very nice man. He loves his wife. He loves his kids. He works hard. You know, what are you going to say? You know, it just sort of, again, some people, and God knows he keeps making them. I liked, Scott and I watched the one that he did with Jennifer Aniston for Netflix. That was fun. Again, a lot of them are sort of they just are, and then they go away, and that's okay. I'm not sure what to think of that upcoming, sorry, it just moved. 1 second. I'm not sure what to think of that upcoming animated Netflix film about the iguana. I don't know anything about the Netflix film about the iguana. Do you?
Nope.
Tell us more, Nick. Yeah, 8 Crazy Nights is a good animated one too. He did that. As I say, look, as a little Jewish kid, I was thrilled that he was out there making some noise for us. What are your feelings regarding the upcoming live action version of Snow White? That's how I feel.
Although I read a story yesterday in which they interviewed the young actress.
Oh, she keeps getting in trouble. Yeah, go on.
Well, yeah.
But it's not, okay.
She said, in the original, it's all about just a love story. And the prince is stalking Snow White throughout the film. Weird, she said. He's not stalking her. He's pursuing her.
Also, yuck. If you've seen interviews with Rachel Zegler, there you go, who was in West Side Story, she was fine. I don't think she's anything special. I have no idea why they've made her Snow White. She has repeatedly been interviewed disrespecting the film, the original film, and the character, like, repeatedly. And people are pissed, as they should be, because why do you have to talk about it like that? You know, it's completely unnecessary. Yeah, exactly. The live action remakes in general are completely unnecessary. There's absolutely no reason for them to exist. No one's asking for them. No one is asking for them. And yet they're making them. Fine, whatever, who cares? But then to cast somebody whose whole shtick is telling you how stupid she thinks Snow White is, like, and now they're trying to get her to backtrack because people are pissed. People are pissed about it, as they should be, because it's like, look, lady, I get it. I get that, you want to make things, obviously, the word woke makes you want to punch something, but I get it. I get that they want to create new versions of characters. The movie Frozen, I like it fine. I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world, but I like it. And I rewatched it the other day because it was on TV and Daisy was into colors and stuff like that, the music. And so we just kept it on. And I had friends who have daughters who've told me part of why they love the film so much is because Instead of being true love's kiss, it's an act of true love, and the sisters save each other. And that meant a lot to them, to their kids, that they
I can buy into that.
That it was the idea that the princes or the men in general weren't saving anybody. The two sisters saved each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so at least to me, that has a purpose, even if you don't love the movie, whatever, at least the story it's trying to tell has a purpose to it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bash love in any way. It doesn't bash, romanticism or falling in love. What it does is it says that's important, but what really matters is, loving each other, loving your, having the strength within yourself, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm glad you like the West Side Story film, the reboot. Again, I don't think it needed to happen, but people wanted it. So there it is. It exists. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's a thing they made. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's anything special, but you're allowed to like it. You're allowed to love it. That's fine. I prefer the co-star of the new West Side Story who's doing Disney's Wish. I want to see that animated film. I've read a little bit about it, but I don't know much beyond that. There's so much sort of, because everything is paused with the strikes, it's hard to keep up with what sort of is happening and then what's getting postponed, because stuff keeps getting postponed.
It's making it hard hard is keeping your family together.
Oh yeah, well,
paying the rent.
Yeah,
paying for food and clothing.
Existing as a human being, that part's tough.
In this company town,
where
the ripples are felt by the grocer and the car salesman, and the dry cleaner, and all these other people who service people who make movies and television. So it's bad news all around.
Yeah. But it means that stuff keeps getting moved. And so it's sort of, even that's a bit confusing. You mean she bashed Disney's Snow White, a classic. Not only did she bash it, but I forget how many years, I don't know if it's 2 years ago or whatever it was, that there was this whole tirade about how the prince didn't get permission to kiss her.
Didn't have consent.
He didn't have consent to kiss her. People must be bored. They just must be bored. Because if you watch Snow White and your first thought when he approaches her in that glass coffin, like, your problem should be that she's in a glass coffin and you're watching it with your kids and you're going, this may be a bit much. The first thought should not be, oh, he just kissed her and she did not give consent. Yeah, because she was in a coma.
Stop me.
I can't deal with people sometimes. Most of the time I can't deal with people. I'm trying. That's what I was trying to say before. We were talking about bottoms. That's what I blanked on before. You have 3 new movie reviews up. And they are Bottoms. Jules was last week. What are the other 2 that I just did for you?
Golda.
Yes, the Gold in My Ear film,
and
then the Liam Neeson movie. That's the 3rd review that have
Retribution.
Gone up. Yeah. So yes, we've got those. Those are the 3 new movie reviews. Bottoms you just showed in your class
on the first night of class, and I was delighted to have its co-writer and director, Emma.
Nope. 1 second. Yeah. Oh, Emma Seligman.
That's
Emma
what it is.
Seligman, yeah.
As my guest. I had just seen her first film, Shiva Baby, last weekend, and I liked it, especially as a first feature. I think it's impressive. She's working in a very claustrophobic setting. It's supposed to be a small row house in Queens, and where a family with a lot of complicated dynamics has gathered to pay a Shiva call on a family member.
Shiva is, if you don't know, when a Jewish person passes away, when after the funeral happens, you sit Shiva. It's supposed to be for.
Shiva means 7, so
it's supposed to be 7 days. Some people don't do it for that long, but that's what it is. It's sitting Shiva.
And it stars a talented young comedian. I'll call her a comedian because she she writes comedy and performs comedy, named Rachel Sennott. And she and Emma are kind of a team working together with other NYU Tisch School of the Arts grads.
Yeah.
And they've already they've already put a stake in the ground. And I think we're going to be seeing and hearing much more from them.
But so Emily came to your class, or Emma came to your class. And the kids just went nuts for this film. Again, it's called Bottoms. And you really enjoyed it.
I liked it. I liked it very much.
And you're excited to sort of see what happens next.
She's got a voice. She's got not literal now, metaphorical. She has her own distinct comedic voice, and which is shared with her actress partner, and some friends of theirs. One of their friends is Ayo Edebiri,
who's from the show The Bear,
who's wonderful on The Bear, and who also turned up in theater camp with Molly Gordon, who's also on The Bear.
Part of their whole
very tight-knit group of talented young people.
Yep.
So I'm eager to see what they cook up next.
And I'm so glad that was your first class, because that's exactly what those kids, that's exactly what they need. It's very inspirational.
She's only out of NYU 6 years.
Yeah, it's inspirational for them to see someone doing it. Watching from Africa, Kenya. Hello, Isaac, and welcome, Kenya. My goodness. Just to go back to Rachel. Yeah, she insulted Snow White on the D23 red carpet. It was not wise on her part. Sometimes people, instead of saying, do you think it's political correctness? I think people, honest to God, they just must have too much free time. That's all I can think, because it's just not. Look, we can go through absolutely everything and pick it apart. That's not hard to do. But if you don't want to erase absolutely everything, which we don't, then just take it with a grain of salt or explain it. This is the other thing that confuses me. Do you think your kids are stupid? Like, genuinely, do you think your kids are stupid? Do you think they don't understand that something is a fairy tale? Do you think that you don't have some control over how they learn things?
Right.
I would like to think that I respect my kid enough to be able to watch something and understand. You let them watch cartoons where somebody gets cut in half or gets thrown off a cliff and they survive. You don't think they're going to do that, or maybe you do. Why do you think it is that they can watch something like this and go, okay, that's a fairy tale? It's very strange to me. Our question today was, what are some of your favorite documentaries? Because as you know, that's one of our favorites.
And we know, going to Telluride this year,
a lot of documentaries,
because the writers cannot publicly support their films, and the actors cannot publicly support their films.
So it means we're going to have a lot of documentaries. Let's see. Greg says Hollywood: The Silent Years is, for my money, the best documentary ever made on any movie subject. Did you ever work with / meet Kevin Brownlow?
Both.
Yes. We had him on our show last year or a year. I have no sense of time. I think it was last year we had Kevin on the show.
You could find it easily.
Yeah.
He's one of my heroes.
With good reason.
I remember when his book, The Parade's Gone By, came out, and I believe that was in 1969, and just blew me away. Everything he does is touched by his tremendous knowledge and passion for the subject. And he's a pretty decent filmmaker himself. And I don't know what more I can say.
He's also funny.
He has a very British sense.
I don't think the funny comes across very often, but he's very funny. Yeah, he has very British, dry sense of humor. He is a legend for sure.
I was in their editing suite when he and his late partner David Gill we're editing Unknown Chaplain,
Mm.
which I will say has a tie place with Hollywood, the silent years.
Yeah.
As maybe the best documentary ever made about movie making. And we passed a stack of boxes like from a film lab, and it says Olivier narration. I said, "What happened here?" And they said, "Oh, he was just too heavy-handed."
Mm.
So they got James Mason, who had more of a lilt to his readings. And James Mason is great narrating both of those films.
But there is something funny about going, we threw Olivier out. He just wasn't right for it.
Yeah.
Showa, yes. Showa is a fantastic documentary. Traveling Sales Lady on TCM. Oh, separate thing. I watched Traveling Sales Lady on TCM with Joan Blondell. It was Joan Blondell Day. Excellent. Let me see. You guys have listed a couple. Yeah, King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters is so good. We really like that doc. Big fan of that documentary for sure. I think one of the Buster Keaton documentaries is at the Internet Archive. Entirely possible. Let's see. A couple of favorite docs are Blackfish, so good but so hard to watch, and Crumb. I do not know Crumb.
Crumb, you should see Crumb.
Okay.
About R. Crumb.
Oh, yeah. Yes. This year it's Still. I don't know Still. Yes, Kevin. Multiple people are saying Kevin Brownlow's Hollywood, obviously. I don't think I could term it as a favorite, but Showa. Another person said Showa. My favorite is Gizmo from the 1970s. He watched it on beta. His dad had it on beta. Favorite TV series documentaries are Kevin Brownlow's Silent Movie Histories. Favorite feature film documentary is American Movie because a friend worked on it. Fair enough. Have you seen? Sorry, you got. It's fine. I'm going between your questions and everything else. 1 second. A couple folks and it disappeared. One of my favorite documentaries is Crazy Love. My favorite documentaries are Chuck Jones, Extremes and In-Betweens, A Life of Animation, and The Boys, the Sherman Brothers story. Yes.
Very good.
Street Gang, which was about the history of the early years of Sesame Street. Yes. The Sorrow and the Pity, 1972. Hoop Dreams, great one. Kevin Brownlow again. Buster Keaton, A Hard Act to Follow, and The Great Buster. When the Lion Roars. MGM, When the Lion Roars. OJ, Made in America. Bowling for Columbine. Jazz by Ken Burns. Oh, yes. There's lots of good ones. The Celluloid Closet. That's a really good one, too. The photo or the gift that I used for this was Alice Guy Blanchet's film, Be Natural,
right?
Which you saw in Telluride and absolutely blown away by.
Won me over completely. And I know that the woman who was working on it for years, she kept me in her loop, email loop. And I wondered if was she ever going to finish it?
Yeah.
Were we going to get to see the result of her extensive research on one of the forgotten heroines of early filmmaking? A woman who had her credits pulled out from under her more than once, who didn't get credit for the important...
all of the work that she did, which was extensive.
And but that film does her justice.
Don Hahn's Waking Sleeping Beauty. Absolutely. We had Don Hahn on the show a few years ago. I love Don. He's another, God, he's funny.
Yeah.
Don is so damn funny.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. I loved Howard. I don't know if you guys have seen Howard. I think it's still on Disney Plus. But that one is
about Howard Ashman.
All about Howard Ashman. We did a whole episode of the podcast dedicated to it. And we interviewed Alan Menken. I think we had Don on for that. We had Musker. It felt like everybody, because I worked hard on that episode because I thought it was such a special documentary and I really wanted to boost it however we could. So we put together this big episode of a whole bunch of different people talking about it. And that was so special. It's if you don't know, so Howard Ashman wrote some of the biggest Disney musicals to this day. and he passed away really young, and he passed away much too soon.
Yes, he'd already started working on Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So some of those songs are his, but more than the songs, the trajectory of the storytelling was what he brought and hammered away at Disney. Use a Broadway, an old-fashioned Broadway musical as your template.
Yeah,
is what he told them, and they listened and they prospered.
Yeah. It's it was just really special. As I say, I think it's still on Disney Plus, and I can't recommend it enough. I was amazed at how candid the boys was about the Sherman brothers' difficult relationship.
We shouldn't say anything more.
Okay.
We shouldn't say anything more. Oh. The film does not tell the full story.
Mm-mm. Well, no, okay. Okay. With the two brothers, with Richard and Robert, Robert's family was a bit more particular about how certain things were portrayed, where Richard and his family were more open to having it just be, they didn't try to edit. They didn't try to change anything. They didn't try to edit anything. They were okay being seen, warts and all. Robert's family was less open to that. So there you go. See, that was good.
I think you did.
That was good. That was good.
I'll consult with our attorneys.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I like to see them cut. Don't come after me. I like the documentary on Star Wars with Empire of Dreams. That made me appreciate Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back in a way I never did before. Well, that's the whole thing with documentaries, isn't it? That's, to me, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to, when it's over, want to do 1,000 hours of research and learn everything you can, because it should, it should whet your appetite. You know, if it's done its job.
Yeah.
You want to walk out of it, you want to talk to everybody about it.
Theoretically, a good documentary should pull you in and tell you a story you may know nothing about and get you interested enough that you care.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned all of Errol Morris's work. Yeah.
Oh, well.
His stuff.
Let me tell you, the year that Errol brought, I know him well enough to call him by his first name. The year that Errol brought Heart of Darkness, is that what it's called?
I remember.
The Fog of War.
There you go.
The Fog of War to Telluride with Robert S. McNamara, its subject. I went to see the first showing, and they did a Q&A with the audience afterwards. I got so upset. I had a visceral reaction. Why? Because it dredged up everything I remembered about the Vietnam era. Now, don't misunderstand me. I had a college deferment. I was going to NYU, and I got a high number in the lottery besides. So I was very fortunate twice over that I did not have to go and possibly give my life for that murky cause. But it was upsetting at the time that all the vitriol, families, polarized by this hot button issue that just wouldn't go away. And I had sort of suppressed all that in the years since graduating from college. And this film dredged it all back up in a very dramatic way.
I think that, and P.S., this is something to any person who has, I don't want to say to anyone who is young, but to anybody who ever asked their family about certain moments in history, do that. I will never forget. So when September 11th happened, one of the things I said to my mom is, this is one of the first pieces of history that I've lived through that my kid will someday ask me about. That was my first thought, was, oh my God, this huge thing has happened. And this will be the thing that when I am older and I have kids that they will ask me about. Where were you when this happened? What was it like? And from that experience, and also from a really good history teacher I had never asked my parents about JFK and what it was like when he was assassinated, what it was like when Martin Luther King was assassinated. Not just assassination questions, but just in general, what was this like? What was that like? When my parents would talk a little bit about drafting, the draft, and then draft dodging, and my mom talked about watching television and seeing people's numbers pop up, and realizing, oh my God, that means so-and-so is going. If you've never asked someone in your family about that as a firsthand kind of a thing, do it, because at a certain point, there will be no one alive anymore who was there for those moments. And to have that firsthand, someone recounting that for you, it's really special and hard, but something that you'll be glad that from somebody you care about. Just to go back to docs again, because you guys are mentioning so many good ones. Exit through the gift shop is so good. Kid Stays in the Picture, so good. Heart of Darkness, Burden of Dreams.
Burden of Dreams stars Werner Herzog, who should star in every movie.
He should. He's another one we had on the show. You should listen to our episode with Werner. He's such a kick.
We see him virtually every year
in Telluride. And his very, very sweet and wonderful wife.
And so we finally worked up the nerve to ask him if he'd be willing to come on our show. And he and Lena welcomed us into their home. And we sat in his living room.
I was staring at a spear the whole time. There was a spear propped up next to the fireplace. And the entire time I was like, is that the spear he points at us in that movie? Is that thing from that thing? We did ask him in the episode how he got that spear home. And he talked about trying to get it through TSA. Only Werner.
There's an article in the latest issue of the New Yorker, byline article by him, about In Search of Family in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. I wish I could tease it better. That's all it said.
Yeah.
But Werner, we love you.
Yeah. 20 Feet from Stardom, wonderful. The Wrecking Crew. If you like 20 Feet from Stardom, if you haven't seen The Wrecking Crew, Lynn, I recommend that to you.
The Wrecking Crew is
it's
wonderful documentary.
Similar vein, very similar vein. Jeff says, because I like to watch the Maltins squirm, allow me to add regarding the boys that no matter what the particulars were behind the scenes, it was one of the most moving documentaries I've ever seen, and I was bawling mess by the end credits. Look, the thing about Werner, the thing about Richard and Robert is they wrote some of the most indelible music. They wrote music that is a part of our lives and our childhood, and the fact that their dad wrote music, the fact that their dad was so much a part of that, and then they joined him. It's very special. It's very, very special, and I take nothing away from that, not for a second. Speaking of Herzog, Grizzly Man, whoa, another one so good, but wow. Exporting Raymond, we showed Exporting Raymond at Maltin Fest, and Phil Rosenthal came down with it. We love that movie. We recommend that movie all of the time. I think it is fascinating. I love sharing it with friends. I will also say, if you've never seen The Greatest Movie Ever Sold, which is Morgan Spurlock.
Oh, yeah.
That, especially if you're someone into marketing and publicity and all of that, this film is so good. And I almost wish he would do an updated version with social media, adding that fact in, because that would be so interesting. I really like Morgan Spurlock. I think he's very talented. What have you got?
Well, for our
got
show
records.
and tell today.
Yes.
I'm going to show recordings.
Oh, I can't break these. That's exciting for
me. Yes, these are not shellac. These are
I think it's
vinyl.
I have only, unlike my child who breaks things a lot, I never broke anything at our house growing up around all these things. At the only time we were sitting on the floor in the family room and my dad was pulling out these records, and I picked up a record and it broke off in my hand. I will never forget it because it was absolutely terrifying. And it's because
it was an old 78 made on shellac.
And it just went crack. And I was just like, oh, what did I do? All right. So here we've got Paramount Radio recording, produced by Paramount Pictures Incorporated, Hollywood, California. Teaser spot announcement, Hold Back the Dawn. And on the back, we've got Nothing But the Truth. I don't know if you can see the label that well.
And this is okay. They distributed these to radio stations. And I have a number of examples, a couple of especially good ones coming up here. Oh, yes. Here's a star interview with Miss Lucille Ball. Now, for these, they sent a script with the record, and your local Cincinnati or Dubuque.
You didn't say what the back of it was.
Oh.
Bob Hope.
Yeah.
So you've got Lucille Ball on one side and Bob Hope on the other side.
That's when they co-starred, I think, in Fancy Pants. So, and they did these for many years, these what they call open-ended interviews. And Dennis Freer and I, my old friend Dennis, would manipulate the tape recorder so that we were asking the questions.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Yeah. Why did you sit down in that vat of cream cheese?
That's so.
And then Raquel Welch would say, well, I thought it would be an interesting thing to try. It's very puerile, but made us laugh. Here's a personal interview with Shelley Winters from Universal International.
And on the back of it, you've got Donna Martin, star of Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer, Boris Karloff.
Donna Martell.
Oh, I love that little, sorry. That's what happens, by the way, when you're dyslexic. I love the little Universal logo at the bottom, if you can see it, guys. It's a great little logo. All right.
And here's a companion disc for underappreciated film called Meet Danny Wilson.
Starring Shelley Winters and Frank Sinatra. And this record is red.
These are spot announcements for the 1941 Paramount film I Wanted Wings. And one of them runs 48 seconds, one runs 40 seconds, 32 seconds, 55 seconds. So you can act accordingly. It's only a one-sided disc. This is from the moment that I should have.
Scott, you'll know.
I should have joined eBay Anonymous. I was just wildly buying.
eBay started, what it meant was all the people like my dad, he used to have to go from tiny store to tiny store, you know, trying to find places. Suddenly you could just go online, type it in, and it would appear on your doorstep. Which when it was not constant was very exciting for everybody. And then once it became sort of anybody up for anything, then it was sort of lost its magic.
Look at this.
This is huge.
This is a 16-inch
Oh my
disc.
God. Can I tell you that I always find it really annoying that the stickers are never the same on each side?
Yeah.
I can't really see you, so I hope that I'm holding it in a way you guys can. because it's so big. This is not an optical illusion. It is really this large. So,
So how crazy did I get?
How crazy did you get?
I bought a 16-inch turntable just to be able to play these.
I mean, doesn't sound crazy. Sounds logical. Otherwise, how are you going to listen to it?
Thank you.
Is how you know I'm your child.
And being MGM, the Tiffany of movie studios, they printed these outside envelopes. Metro Goldwyn Mayer radio attractions. This was early 50s. And when they decided to get on the bandwagon, just as everyone's deserting radio for television. But it was 711 Fifth Avenue, which I knew was the Columbia Pictures building. But it says right here, program number 15, part 1, MGM Theater of the Air, starring Celeste Holm in Slightly Dangerous with Howard Dietz as host. Howard Dietz was the man who lived a double life as the publicity director of MGM Studios and as a very talented lyricist. All of his and Arthur Schwartz's songs populate the bandwagon. So all of those wonderful songs he wrote when he wasn't busy concocting PR plans.
Giant things like that.
Yeah.
Wild. Absolutely wild.
They had a last brush with radio. They did an Andy Hardy radio series with Mickey Rooney. Now, Mickey couldn't get arrested at MGM around that time to make a movie, but he signed on to do the radio show. Same with Ann Sothern, who revived her Maisie character for a radio series, and Lou Ayres and Lionel Barrymore, who did Dr. Kildare for MGM radio attractions. Very professionally done, and syndicated, sent out stations around the country.
Wild.
And I just like having them.
And I just like having them, which is okay. You're allowed to just like having them. We let you just have them.
I tell myself that some Sunday I'm going to sit here next to the turntable and just play a whole bunch of stuff and enjoy listening to it. And I really think I have a shot at making that happen someday.
Someday. Not today, but someday.
Someday.
I believe in you. Friends, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We will be away in Telluride next week, but home after that. So what was your favorite star on TCM this month? I don't know if you pay attention. I don't usually.
No, star of the day. I love so many.
Knee jerk. What was recent?
Doris Day was yesterday.
Never a bad time for Doris Day, is there?
I ended up riding my exercise bike watching Doris Day and Gordon McRae Tea for Two, which was a painless way to exercise.
Absolutely.
And
I wonder if Peloton has that as an option. I feel like they probably don't.
And I've had very good timing this week to get to see Short Subjects on TCM. I know if they don't have another program on the quarter hour before or after, there's a good shot they're going to show either a 1 or 2 reel short. I saw a Crime Does Not Pay I'd never seen before, and other stuff.
And other things and stuff. Anyway, guys, it's Ann Sutherland. Yes, today. Again, can't go wrong. Everybody be well. We will see you when we are back. Take good care of yourselves.
And be kind.
There it is.